Welcome to From Our Family to Yours, where we share relatable stories and helpful advice from community members like you. Hi, I'm Kristen from the Understood team, and this week's story is about avoiding or refusing to do schoolwork. It comes from community member Palesa. She writes, I have ADHD and Asperger's, and I used to avoid doing schoolwork, but now I understand myself better. It was because if I do not understand every single step, I won't feel confident enough to do it. And I think because I have ADHD, I need the support to understand what I need to do. But as a kid, I was unable to articulate that. I'm in college now, but I didn't feel properly confident in myself to do my homework until about last year, and I'm almost 27. It just takes longer. Palesa, thank you for giving us that information. It takes a lot of courage to be able to talk about struggles that you've had with learning and with self-confidence. I think it's not uncommon for many kids who have symptoms of ADHD or who struggle with focusing to be able to complete homework or schoolwork on their own without assistance. It's a skill that usually takes a lot of time to build up, and it's not uncommon for people to need different types of resources or structures to be able to do so. Let's see what else she has to say. When I was a kid, all that came out was frustration because I didn't know how to say, what I need is you to sit here while I work. Lots of steps in task really muddy me up, and I actually need you to help me think about my thoughts on this work, so to speak. Even now, I need extra help sometimes to organize my thoughts. But when you can't articulate it, or you grow up maybe not knowing you have this problem and thinking you're not good at learning, it could be like trying to find a needle in a haystack for a child. Then what might happen is an adult becomes frustrated with trying to support the child, but the child is unable to say what they need. So a vicious cycle occurs. Palesa, the frustration that you talk about experiencing as a child, not being able to articulate what you needed from your parents, and the frustration that your parents experienced because they thought you were being oppositional or just refusing to do work, is something that many families and many kids experience. I think one of the things that's important to remember is that children need help in various ways and at various levels based on individual differences. This can be tough for parents because if they've had older children who breeze through work, they might not have a good understanding of kids who present with some learning problems for whom it takes more time. I think for parents, it's really important that you look at your kids' performance and the amount of time that it takes them to get through tasks and ask questions because they may not have the language to articulate their needs. But if you ask questions, you might have an easier time getting some of that material from them. I think Palesa has more for us. Also, I associated school with feelings of deep shame and feeling that I wasn't good enough. So when I was in my safe place at home, I didn't want to do something that was related to school. But of course, I don't profess to know all the reasons kids don't want to do their homework. It could be anything, but often it isn't because kids don't want to learn. The brain is made to learn. It may be the homework is just not asked in a way that learning works for them. The best way I learn is by listening. And even as an adult, I find reading extremely difficult, which is frustrating because I love to learn and read. So what are the ways a child is being asked to do the homework? And does it work for them? Another great points that Palesa makes about people having different strengths and weaknesses in their learning styles and being aware of what works best for kids when they're being asked to do homework or schoolwork or even asked to demonstrate their understanding of a topic. One of the things that I would recommend if you notice that your child is avoiding or refusing to do work is to, again, directly question your child and say, what have you noticed works well for you when you're learning something new? How can I help? One of the ways parents can also help is to try to take that information from their children and then apply it. So for a kid who's an auditory learner, you might need to look for auditory sources of books or auditory sources of information so that they can listen as they learn. It could be as simple as finding a podcast or finding a book that's online but presented in an audible format. For kids who are visual learners, It may be helpful for them to watch videos about a topic before engaging in the homework on the same topic. For kids who are more kinesthetic or need to actually manipulate objects and engage in experiments while they're learning, you might find different resources for doing so. So seeking out teachers' supply stores or other stores where they provide kids with materials that can be manipulated while learning to do a different task. Is your child maybe avoiding doing schoolwork and you don't know why? Do you have questions for one of our experts at Understood? Join in the conversation below. And remember, you're not alone. Until next time, this has been From Our Family to Yours. Thanks for watching.